One of Treyarch's main game designers has been alluding to big things coming in their next zombies game. This all started when Cherry Gamer posted on Twitter, Cold War above Black Ops 3, referring to just zombies, I believe. She said in her opinion, Black Ops 3's production was incredible, no doubt about it, the zombies maps we got were insane, but Cold War just hits the exact gameplay and story beats that makes me want to play. Collecting a new soul every map played with inaccessibility isn't my cup of tea. She then said, I played Shadows of Evil and didn't like it, so still to this day I haven't bought the season pass. I game shared to try stuff out and bought Chronicles on release, which on nostalgia alone won me over, but I actually only bought Gurod Crovey earlier this month. And yeah, I kind of share a similar opinion to her, not really exactly. I put Black Ops 3 zombies and Cold War zombies pretty equal. I personally think that Cold War zombies just far exceeds Black Ops 3 zombies just in terms of gameplay. And yeah, I don't know why, but there's this weird mob of Twitter weirdos when anytime you say you like Cold War zombies or prefer it to Black Ops 3 zombies, you are just bombarded with people hating and making meme videos, and it's just like, go play the game you want to play. Like, Black Ops 3 is still available, go play it, have your fun. You've got plenty of custom zombies to play. Why does someone liking Cold War zombies affect your experience? It doesn't. But yeah, whilst I think that Cold War zombies' gameplay is really good, I also think the storyline is really good. I just think that the intel is way too overwhelming for most fans to delve into. But I really like Outbreak. I do think that it needs a lot of improvements, but it was a very good start. I think Black Ops 3's gameplay is just inferior. It just takes too long to do stuff. Sometimes I just want to jump on zombies and I don't want to do a million tasks. If Treyarch want to make things more in depth, they should do that in the form of side Easter eggs. Those can be the more complex things, but the core gameplay mechanics like Pack-a-Punch and getting the wonder weapons and stuff should just be easy to do. And I think at times in Black Ops 3 things were just a bit too overcomplicated. Don't get me wrong, I loved it at the time, but you have to bear in mind that Treyarch are trying to get the most amount of fans to play the game, and if people have to watch a million different YouTube videos just to figure out how to get set up on the map, it's not going to make them want to play the maps often. I played Black Ops 3 religiously throughout its life cycle. I've played it a ton. I've played Black Ops Cold War a ton. I think I've probably played Black Ops 3 more even, just because, you know, it had Zombies Chronicles and stuff like that. Obviously, it's been out for longer since then too. It has custom zombies as well, which is great, but I just put Cold War and Black Ops 3 pretty equal, just because I think Black Ops Cold War is a better game to just play, and there's just more to do now that there's good camo grinds, as well as the fact that there's cross progression, cross battle pass progression between multiplayer and Warzone. Black Ops 3 was certainly better in terms of the atmospheric atmosphere, in terms of a lot of the cinematic elements, and it made you feel more immersed and into the maps. Yes, Black Ops Cold War doesn't really exceed that well in that degree, but I think it's something that in future games we will see more atmospheric locations that are more akin to what we saw in Black Ops 3 and even the Chaos storyline in Black Ops 4 Zombies. And I think they'll strike a good balance between having good gameplay, good game systems, as well as also having good side stuff to do for those people that like more in-depth stuff. But yeah, I don't really agree with Cherry on not liking Shadows of Evil. I personally didn't like it on launch either, because I did find it too complex to just get the Pack-a-Punch and stuff like that, but a few months after launch they patched Shadows of Evil, so now it's way easier to just jump into and play, and it's actually one of my favourite maps now, if not my favourite, just because I love the atmosphere so much. But the thing is, I'm not going to play Shadows of Evil every day. It's one of those maps I go back to every now and again and have an amazing time, but come on, I'm not just doing the Pack-a-Punch rituals every single day, whereas I can hop on D-Machine and just go ahead and kill zombies instantly and I don't really have to worry about anything, and that is why Black Ops Cold War just becomes more replayable for the average audience. Anyways, went off in a big tangent here. What I wanted to talk about is what Mark, the lead game designer over at Treyarch, replied to this post about, because she was getting a lot of hate on this. Well, like I said, there's a bunch of people that just hate anytime someone says Black Ops Cold War Zombies is good. He said, what didn't you like about Shadows of Evil? You've got to love the dancing little Annie Easter egg though, and I love that Easter egg. I posted a guide on it way back in the day when I did it, and I think that is still one of the best Easter eggs. I think it's one of the first Easter eggs that was more tongue-in-cheek that Treyarch did. In Black Ops 3 they started doing more tongue-in-cheek Easter eggs. I don't remember in the past if they did any kind of tongue-in-cheek Easter eggs like that. Maybe I'm just forgetting things, I probably am. But yeah, the Annie is just so cute. He said, I highly recommend Gurod Crovey. I was also the lead design point on it. The others were also great maps, although your mileage may vary. Horizon Drac was widely loved. So in terms of Gurod Crovey, I like this map as well. I don't like it as much as everyone else says, but I think it's a very in-depth map. There's tons of side Easter eggs. I think aesthetically though, especially on console, it kind of suffers just because loads of textures don't load in and stuff, and I don't know, because there was just so much on the map, I guess it was just difficult for them to get things running on that map on console. On PC it looks fine, but yeah, I do like Gurod Crovey. I just think it kind of feels like kind of a bit clustered at times, and yeah, I don't really know if that's the best description description, but that's just kind of my best way I can articulate it. Cherry said, Shadows has grown on me and I love the aesthetic, and yes, even Arnie, just Shadows wasn't great for casual players. The rituals were a big off-putting factor on launch. I think they got better with updates though. I'm just a player that enjoys being able to start a game and blast hordes. It's why I love Cold War's direction so much. Ammo boxes, trial machines, easy pack-a-punch, score streaks, hell, I even loved Onslaught on launch. Even before its glow up, I could just finish work and chill out getting lost in the game. And yeah, I kind of agree to an extent. I do like some of the complex things, but I think, you know, it just got tiresome when you were just having so many things to do every single map. And I know not everyone agrees with me, but that's just how I personally felt, and I agree with her. I love Onslaught as well. Even on launch, it wasn't that bad. People were saying it was absolutely awful on launch. It wasn't that great on launch, but it was still fun. Then they made it way better with updates, and I think Onslaught is probably the best side mode we've ever gotten in zombies before. Super replayable and super fun. She said Origins is probably the only exception to the rule because that blew my mind. And yeah, I kind of agree. Origins was just such a cinematic and a big point in the zombie storyline where things just went nuts with the children in the house. And I think the overcomplicatedness kind of worked with that map just because it was the climax of Black Ops 2. It was at a very high point in the zombies community, and I think it all just culminated together well, but I wouldn't really want to see maps that complex again. Like I said, if you're going to do complex stuff, have them be side stuff that's not really the main gameplay loop. She said, I love Origins, I think because of that too, the bows were so much fun. So Horizon Drac is basically just the simpler version of Origins. It's a lot easier to get the bows, it's a lot easier to get set up, and it flows really well. The Easter egg flows really well, everything just flows really well. I just said that so many times. She said Grod was too difficult, there's a reason it's the only map without round 255, the only 100 I had to use megas for. And yeah, Grod Crovey was a very hard map. The Raygun Mark III was really good, but then it would cap off at a low round. It was really fun to use though, but I don't play zombies for high rounds anyway, so I don't really care too much about that. He then said, yeah, Shadows of Evil's Pack-a-Punch quest was a little bit too complicated for a launch map, and yeah, that's a big problem because I think a lot of people would have played the DLC in Black Ops 3 Zombies more if, for example, Horizon Drac was the launch map, because I think that was the perfect map for new players to jump into. At least we had the Giant though, and that was good for fans, but you had to buy the season pass for that, or buy it separately. Shadows of Evil being so complex was just not good for a launch map though. He said it's a big reason why the Pack-a-Punch quest tended to be easier for all of the future maps after that. Grod Crovey was designed to be harder, to make kiting more challenging than just running tight circles. It did have the holdout areas too though, but needs 4. Phantom Eye said, good to have variety right, smaller more simple maps like the Giant, bigger more complex experiences like Origins, and in-betweeners like Horizon Drac. He said, yes, we tried to create a variety of maps each game in terms of difficulty and style. And I think they kind of should have done that a bit more in Black Ops Cold War. The maps kind of did become a little bit samey. Like, they were different to each other, don't get me wrong, but they did have the general same feel. And we didn't have maps like the Giant in Black Ops Cold War Zombies. There wasn't any maps that were just survival maps, you know, just small little areas with not really much to them. I guess D Machine was kind of like that because it was so simple, but yeah, there was nothing really complex in Black Ops Cold War Zombies as a whole though. So Skype replied saying, I'm curious, Mark, when the team makes these maps, you guys before release think this one is going to be a classic, or are you often surprised about how maps are ranked? For example, with a map as revolutionary and innovative as Origins, surely you guys had a feeling it would be loved. He said, when I'm making a map, I'm always trying to make it as best as it can be, given the time and resources. Sometimes you can be too close to it to know. You always hope it will be received well, but it can be hard to tell how the public will react. You always hear the same thing when actors talk about their TV shows or movies. Often my memory of a project is the process to get it to ship. What the public doesn't see are the daily decisions and changes that are constantly shaping it. We don't always like the decisions we make at the start. Sometimes it doesn't play out like it did in your head. Sometimes it never will, and you need to course correct. Our heads have a perfect scenario, free of the problems that need to be dealt with. When the map ships, it hopefully isn't in a big state of flux, but it really is just a moment frozen in time. Sometimes a thing will change 2 weeks before ship, but I only remember the way it was for the last 3 months. Everyone else sees the way it shipped. Origins was the one that pushed every department to their limits. It was a lot of crazy ideas that we managed to get to work, and I'm thankful for everyone that worked late and hard to make it awesome. I feel like back then when they were making Origins though, the Zombies team and the people they had working on Zombies was a lot larger. I think it is very obvious the Zombies team is a lot smaller now, and you know, that's what people worry about for the future of Zombies. Are they going to get more resources into Zombies? Are they going to get more employees working on it too? Obviously, it's not always a good thing to get more employees because you don't want to have too many people working on something, you know, too many cooks in the kitchen. But I would like to see a bit more depth to the maps like Black Ops 3 and even Black Ops 4 maps got. I think Forsaken had more depth than the other maps we had in Cold War Zombies, and that was a good start, I think. But yeah, developers never really know how the community is exactly going to react. They're just trying different things and seeing how how it plays out. Sky said, super interesting. Leading on from that, Black Ops 3 as a whole, which is widely regarded as the best zombies, does the team at Treyarch reciprocate that feeling and recognize why the game was so loved? Because I'm sure when you are putting blood, sweat and tears into these games, the team's perspective may be different. Like, was it simply with Black Ops 3 that the stars just aligned? Pre-Battle Royale era, a 3-year wait for Treyarch zombies since Black Ops 2, and with seemingly huge funding support throughout the whole season in ways of cinematic trailers, DLC 5, huge marketing campaigns, content creator events, introduction of boss fights, cutscenes and so much more. It's a multi-layered question, but essentially, was BO3 Zombies' success believed to be the result of a perfect formula, or is it hard to pinpoint exactly what went so right? He said at the time Black Ops 3 got as much love/hate as anything else. People said Shadows of Evil was too complicated, Horizon Drac was great, Zetsubo no Shima wasn't loved, and by the way, I just want to say I love Zetsubo no Shima. It is overcomplicated, but I just love the atmosphere of that map, and I can play it a lot. Once again, it's a map that I wouldn't play daily, like Shadows of Evil, but it's a map I can hop on every now and again and have a lot of fun. I really do think it has one of the best atmospheres. And atmosphere is a big part of zombies for me. Even though it does take so long to get set up, I just kind of like it, to be honest, which is controversial. I've liked it literally since release. I've never not liked Zetsubo. You know, there was a time when I didn't like Shadows, but then it grew on me. But I've liked every other map in Black Ops 3. You know, I would even put Zetsubo above Grodkrovia, I think. I think Grodkrovia has better designs, but there's just something about Zetsubo. I just like it. He said the community said too much was reused in Revelations, only one new perk in the DLC, I could go on, etc. Many things were unique for almost every map, including locations, hoods, mystery boxes, pack-a-punch machines, etc. Then we had Zombies Chronicles, plus there's the nostalgia of old characters interacting with the new. It was a perfect storm that's unlikely to be duplicated for many reasons. What we can do is try to make a new thing that's great in a different way instead of chasing something that's too similar to a previous one, and that in of itself would end up being called a negative too. We are planning great things, you will just have to wait and see.